What's up, everyone? Sam Stewart here with episode 101 of the Present Tense. And today, I'm here in a very special place. I am here in BSides, here in Millville, Pennsylvania. My good friend Alec, he runs BSides here. And Alec, thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm stoked.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you. So for those of you who don't know, BSides is a vintage clothing store. They've got some really awesome things here. So Alec, right off the bat, I'm going to ask you, how did you get into thrifting? Because obviously a lot of people see the store, but what's the origin story of your love for thrifting?
Yeah, I think kind of like what we touched on when you first walked in. It was a lot of my mom taking us to places like my older sister and I really got into because my mom was really, there's a lot of thrift stores by my parents' house. She would take us around. We'd go to flea markets like after they take us to church on Sundays. That's how they'd bargain us to go to church so we get to go to the flea market. And
Really?
yeah,
That's awesome.
I just fell in love with this stuff, man. Like, it's so unique, and like I've always kind of had that little like itch inside of me to be like, I don't want to have what everybody else has. I want to find my thing. Like, and it's I just like fell in love with like the treasure hunt of it because you literally never know what's gonna happen whenever you go to a market or an estate sale or a thrift store or something. So yeah, I was young, I started going, and I completely fell in love with it.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And for you, what would you say is your process for finding new clothes here? Because you have a lot of variety. We talked about it before the show. You have like, I love just looking through the racks. I'm like, wow, like this is so random. Like,
Yeah.
So when you're trying to get new inventory in the store, what are the ways that you're able to find this cool stuff that you have in here?
I don't get to the thrift store as much as I used to. A lot of it now is I'll buy it wholesale. So there's a lot of guys around Pittsburgh or out of state that just have mass quantities of clothes, and I'll go and hand pick it. I'll go through everything they have, and I'll just, see what catches my eye, what I like, and I do most of it based off feeling. I'm just like, I just go off what I think is cool. But for the most part, it's either wholesale or the Goodwill outlet. Just digging through the bins, yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy that part of it? Is that
I love
that's
it.
your favorite part of it?
I do. I like being in the store, and it's great. And like I love meeting people and hanging out and see like the hand-to-hand transaction is so much more fun than online because it's cool to see people find something that I thought was cool, and then they get stoked on it, and they're like, "Oh, I have to have this." It's great, but finding it is forever the best part. It's just like that. I've probably been thrifting for 8-9 years now, and selling for like 4 or 5, but the rush of finding something has never gone away.
Wow.
Like it's crazy. Yeah. So the hunt is always forever my favorite part.
And one point you said right there that I really want to touch on is the idea of meeting cool people doing something you love. So what's that been like, getting to meet all these people who are into the same sort of unique, very cool stylistic things that you are? What's it been like meeting those people?
It's been incredible. Like I've met some of my best friends through this. I think there's something really powerful. I think like humans are just always looking for something to relate on or connect with. So like it's such a nice medium of like, oh, you think this is cool? I think this is cool. And then that just starts a conversation. Now you're talking to somebody that you might not have ever talked to before. It's so cool. So it's like a really fun, common ground to meet on.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, if you like this, I already think you're cool. What do you think? Like, I think this is so cool. So it's a good place to start. Yeah.
Wow, that's really awesome. And for you and a lot of other thrifters, I know that there is a lot of interest in like the story behind the different pieces of clothes. So, like when you find something and you're not sure like maybe it's from a genre of interest that you're not sure about, do you like researching it and finding out like what it is?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like finding my favorite one is always to find like a band that I don't know because
Band.
Yeah, because I think music is just so accessible now that you go on Spotify and like I'll just play their top couple songs. I'm like, oh, awesome! Like I didn't know this before. Or like destination ones are cool. Like learning about like older brands and seeing their process and stuff. Yeah, but I love the research, everything, because the story is so cool. Like that T-shirt has had a full life. Like where it's like it's been so many different places, especially the ones that are all actually thrashed and beat up. It's like, damn.
So you think that adds like value for you when you see it? And other people have worn it.
Oh yeah, I think that's the best part. Is it's like it's not new. It has its own story too. Yeah, it's great. Yeah,
that's awesome. And I want to go back to one of my first questions where you talked about how you were thrifting when you were young. So let's, could you, in your own words, can you take us from the point where you're this young kid who loved going to the flea market to the time you actually opened the doors to this really cool store here in Millville? What was that process like, designing your brand and actually getting this building to open up the store in?
Yeah. So I was I've had a couple like random different jobs. Like whenever I was up until like 21, I worked in a bakery. So I was just like, cool. It was fun. But I was like thrifting on the side still. And then I was tired of that, so I went to massage therapy school, and I was a massage therapist for a couple of years, which was great. But uh, there's a lot of downtime in that profession, so I would be like, okay, cool, I have an hour break between this appointment. I'm going to the thrift store.
So it's kind of a side hustle.
Yeah, so I just started. It was definitely a side hustle, and I just started stacking stuff. And owning a store was always in my head. Like that was always something I wanted to do. So I just started stockpiling as much as I could, living off of my my actual job and not really selling anything, and just stocking and stocking and stocking. And then slowly I was like, whoa, I have enough for a store. Like I got to take a shot on this. And this was like right before COVID hit. So I signed my lease and I was ready to go. And I was going to open in March, and then the world closed down.
Yeah.
So it was a blessing in disguise, because like I had way more time to make everything exactly how I wanted it here. But yeah, I think that was, it was literally just stockpiling as much clothing as I possibly could was my race here. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And Alec, for you in this space, what fuels you to be the best store owner you can be? What is your intrinsic motivation?
I think just the incredible opportunity. Like it's, there's some days when I'm like, it's a little bit slow, and I'm like, oh damn it, like I don't want to be here. What am I doing? But then I look around, I'm like, oh my god, this is my space, and like I think like just the gratitude for having this place is what keeps me going. It's like it's amazing. Like it's my own little spot, and so I want to work as hard as I possibly can to make it exist because it means so much to me. So I just think, yeah, like how intertwined my life is with this place now is what keeps me going. Like I feel like I really rely on it more so than like a paycheck. Like I rely on it just for myself because it makes me so happy to be here.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you feel like when your name is on it, you like want to have it be the best thing you can be, because I feel like you are intertwined with the store. Like if you want people to come to BSides, they want you to know it's Alec's place. Like
right.
And I feel like you always greet customers and stuff. Like you're very like, and I've always seen you here.
Yeah.
When I've been here.
Oh yeah, I had a friend that worked for me over the summer when it got really busy, but I like to be here. I think it's important to have a face attached to the store where it's like you can come in and be comfortable, because a lot of secondhand resell, like buy sell trade stores are not the most approachable thing in the world. It's a little intimidating, so I think making people think that we're friends. If you come in here, you're my friend. That's awesome. So yeah, I like to.
It's also a smart business tactic too.
Exactly.
I mean, let's just be honest. Like people are more likely to come back if they feel comfortable and they can just have a good time in the store.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the thing though. Like it's never, like I run very much based off feeling and emotion, which is not the greatest business tactic, I guess. But
that's interesting.
So for me, it was never about like, okay, I want to make this person come back. I'm like, I just want this person to like my spot. Like that's I want this person to have a good time here and find something they like, and that's still, I guess, my mission statement today is like, I just want you to feel cool in here and have fun and find something you like. Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, that's so awesome. And Alec, for you, what is one thing in your life that you are proud of?
I think I'm proud of my ability to make people feel comfortable and like accepted. I just feel a great amount of empathy for people, and like we were saying, I think everybody has their own story, and I think you never know what people are dealing with. So I think that's like one thing I really cherish about myself is like I give everybody the benefit of the doubt off the rip. Like it's just the ability to make people feel comfortable and accepted and nice, because I know the feeling of not being accepted and comfortable and nice. So I would never want people to feel like that, Yeah.
That's really interesting. I think the cool thing that I see in the clothes, and I'm just thinking that is like, sometimes I feel like people are discarded and they're like, oh, that person, why are they acting this way and why are they this way? But I think you look at the clothes too, like everyone has a story. That's the cool part about these clothes, is that like sometimes they might be tattered up and like, but still like they still have so much value to them. And just like people, like even if things happen to people in life and maybe they seem bitter on the outside, they still have so much value in them.
Yeah, that's actually a really cool point.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, like because it's kind of funny because these clothes are literally something that people deemed worthless. Like they donated it and they gave it away, or and then somebody comes in, it's like, wow, look at like the life in this thing. This is so cool. I love this. And that's, it equates perfectly.
So I'm sure it's a certain type of person that's attracted to thrifting that way.
I would say so. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's really cool. I really like that.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I was just thinking about that myself. And, and Alec, for you, what is one word you would use to describe yourself?
Whoa. Curious.
Interesting. I said the same thing.
Really?
Myself. Yeah,
Right.
that's really
That's
interesting.
cool. That's awesome. Yeah, here. I mean, my brain is always spinning. It's always moving, and I'm always trying to figure things out. And yeah, I think and also just in the sense that I'm curious about everything. I want to learn about everything, and
I'm the same.
That's really
I'm the same way. Yeah,
so
when
cool.
it's like, so I feel like it's a blessing and a curse sometimes, and the gears are always spinning. Because like
100%.
sometimes like with every little event, I'll be like, why'd this happen? Like, But no, it's definitely a cool thing too. And even when you're talking about the bands and stuff, you're like, you've never really had any interest in this band before. You've never heard the music. Like, oh, like they have someone had to be like a fan of them because they made a T-shirt.
Exactly.
So, like, yeah, no, that's really cool. And I do want to ask you about one thing that I didn't even know about before the show. And I see a record right there, but the name of BSides, and for those people who don't know what BSides means, and you might have to explain it for some of our younger members of the audience about what a record is. But what inspired you to call the store BSides?
Oh yeah, so the vinyl record, the A side is the side that was like the hit, the one that you would hear on the radio and that the record label really pushed. And the B side was kind of like not the throwaway track, but the just the other track and lesser known. But oftentimes the B side is the better song for people that are really into music. So I pulled that for the name of like, you can come in here and everything's reasonably priced, I think.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
It's just like kind of like an eclectic random mix. You might like funky stuff, like you said. You put one and like, look at this thing, like what is this? And like that's kind of what the B side was to me, where I'm like, listen to this song, like this isn't even the one that is like hitting. But this song is better. And that's just how I've always felt about clothes. I'm like I was telling you, I want one that's like they're just the most random shirt you can find. Is where I'm like, oh, this is my my holy grail. I love this.
No, that's awesome. And for you, when you have like a lot of 80s, 90s, even clothes are like 70s theme here, like early 2000s as well. But like, what draws you to this era of clothing more than the modern fashion industry? Because I feel like these pieces, I don't know, it's hard to put a finger on it, but there's definitely different qualities to these pieces than some things you see on the market today. And you might understand that better than I do since you're around these clothes, but what would you say that difference is?
Well, definitely, the quality of them, they're made significantly better. So I think in terms of sustainability and waste, like you don't need to buy 5 of them. Like 1 or 2 good ones will last you far longer than modern clothes will, for sure. But for me, it's the nostalgia of it. Like, I mean, I grew up towards the end of the 90s, but still like seeing like the wrestling shirts and just like all like the old things that I used to be into, seeing those again, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like the Star Wars shirts and movies and stuff. So yeah, the nostalgia is 100% what draws me to it.
Yeah, I love this space because it's like so cool to just geek out and stuff. And I'm sure that's a cool feeling for you, is like someone like maybe he's even older is like, and then my dad was in here and he's like looking at look at this player or this jersey. It's like, and I'm sure that's a cool thing because I feel like everyone has stuff they geek out on. You know what I mean? It's like it's your thing, like whether it's like wrestling or sports or colleges. But one thing you mentioned that I wanted to ask you about, and I don't really know that much about the fashion here, but sustainability. Like obviously there's a lot of waste in today's world. Like, the landfills are piling up. They obviously have like a big problem with the climate right now. But what do you feel like thrifting and people's new kind of interest in this modern age in thrifting, what do you feel like that does for the environment?
I think it's doing a great thing for the environment because there are far too many clothes that exist already, like for many, many lifetimes. So I think shopping secondhand is awesome because it reduces so much waste, and all of the current like fast fashion brands.
Yeah, that's one thing I've heard about. I don't understand what is fast fashion for those people.
Fast fashion would be like Shein or H&M or like brands like that just pump out so much clothing for really cheap, and they keep like on trend really hard.
So it's like trendy, but like
but then the trend is
just
over
like
in 6
season.
months.
Yeah,
And then people send that to the thrift store. It doesn't get sold at the thrift store. It goes to a landfill, or they just straight up throw it away, and that creates this tremendous amount of waste. So it's very non-sustainable with those brands. But like the secondhand stuff, somebody's getting it, they're giving it new life, upcycling it, recycling it, doing something with it. So yeah, it's huge for the environment. So that it's so popular. That's awesome.
Well, that's awesome. Now I want to ask you, because you do have so many interests here at the store.
Yeah.
A couple of fun personal questions I always get to on the show.
Okay.
Alec, if you could listen to one musical artist for the rest of your life, and only one musical artist, who would it be?
Wow.
I said Mac.
That's a good answer. I'd probably go Bob Dylan.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. That's a great answer.
Yeah.
That's
I
really
know that's a good answer too. That'd be high up on my list for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. So you're a fan of like all different genres of music, though.
I'm
right?
all over the place. Yeah, music is like a giant part of my
I saw you had
life.
some Kurt Cobain shirts. I love Nirvana.
Yeah, I love Nirvana. Yeah, I mean, I grew up around a lot of music. Like my cousins and my uncle are in bands.
Oh, really?
Yeah, music's like a big part of my life. So I like everything. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
100%.
And now, these questions are perfect for you, but
Yeah.
if you had a favorite movie of all time, what would you say it would be?
Mine's kind of embarrassing, but it's the Titanic. I love that movie.
How's that embarrassing? That's great cinema.
Yeah,
James Cameron's awesome director.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's great. Have you seen the Avatar series?
I saw the first one. I haven't seen the
The
second
second one's
one yet.
really good. Yeah, no, James Cameron's definitely good. Now, I don't even know if this is possible because you've had so many clothes coming in and out of this store.
Mm-hmm.
But if you had to pick a favorite piece that you've ever had at the store.
I do actually have a favorite piece. Yeah, it sold instantly, and I'm so upset about it. It was it's like a black sweatshirt and it had a pair of like sunglasses on it and they were like, it was like tie-dyed, and it said like caution, hallucination now in progress, and it was like an 80s like LSD sweatshirt. And it was I've never seen anything like it, and like I wish I would have kept it for a reference, like remake it, but it's really cool. Yeah,
Where'd you find that?
I got it in like a big bundle I bought off somebody, but it's on my Instagram. I have to pull the picture up. It's so cool.
Oh, that's
but
really
yeah,
cool.
it was so awesome. But I was like trying to squeeze into it. It was like a medium, and I was like, this might fit. It's never gonna work. But I was so upset. Yeah,
I gotcha. No, that's awesome. And all these pieces of art behind us, I know you're into art as well. Have you had a favorite piece of art that's come into your collection over the years?
Yeah, it's actually in the front of the store.
Okay.
It's like a 1992 New Orleans Jazz Festival print, and it's like, I got it for like $20 at a thrift store, and I was leaving. The lady's like, "I'll give you $500 for that," and I was like, "What?"
$500.
She offered me a ton, and she just kept raising her offer. And
you got it for $20.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, "I can't."
You didn't want to sell it?
No. And it's like numbered and signed by the artist, and like I think there's only like 1,300 of the prints or something, but. Yeah, it's incredible. It's like the art is beautiful on it. The colors are amazing, but I told her, I was like, this is going in my store and it's gonna hang there as long as the store's open.
Really?
Yeah, it was just, I don't know, I felt so connected to it.
That's so cool. Do you ever feel like, not that like the pieces of clothing are like your children thing, but is it ever hard to let a certain piece go?
Yeah, no, I think of that.
You ever see like someone pick it up, like, I want this, you're like, oh!
Yo, yeah, constantly. Oh my god, I've become so attached to it. I've gotten better at that. Like, people try to buy like the little knickknacks on the shelves.
Oh, I know, I did. I was like, how much does this art in here? How much is like? I know people are into that stuff too.
This is the stuff that I'm really attached to. I've trained myself a little bit to be like, okay, the clothes are like how you eat dinner, so you have to sell them. But no, I still do get a little bit upset when I'm like, damn, I love that shirt. Yeah, 100%.
That's awesome. And Alec, my next question for you is, if you had to give advice to people who want to open up their own store, you know, we have a mutual friend, Kiki's, you know, working on his own brand, but it's a big, you know, popular thing in today's world, wanting to be your own boss, an entrepreneur. So, I mean, obviously not just limited to the thrifting space, but there's a lot of people who want to open stores. So what advice would you give those people who want to start their own business?
I think the biggest piece of advice, which is so cliche, but believe in yourself, 100%. I think if you want to open a store, I would absolutely do it because, for the reasons that I did. You don't want to spend your life wondering what would have happened if you would have done it. And B, if you are authentic to yourself and if you find like a field that you truly like and you do what you truly want to be doing, people will see that and people will support it and it will come together. So I think the biggest thing is just have faith in yourself, take the leap, and be kind to people, and it'll work out 100%.
And I feel like people can tell authenticity, like you said.
Without a doubt.
And it's like, I think that's why people are attracted to these clothes. And I feel like it's really interesting. And like, it just popped in my head. I was like, man, I should interview Alex. I feel like there's so much like, it's kind of a metaphor, but relation to these like secondhand clothes and like life, because all of them have a story and they're all authentic. Like, I feel like all these clothes are made with a lot of care. And that's like, I'm sure that's a really cool part for you is like,
100%.
Like going to a thrift store versus picking up something at Target. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Oh, no, that's awesome.
No, I'm going to be thinking about that all day. I really like that.
All right, cool. Yeah, well,
really
thanks.
Cool.
No, I'm going to think about it
that's
too.
Really cool.
And Alec, my last kind of question before we get to our final segment, the quote of the day, is for people who want to come drop, people watching this interview, they're like, oh, this is such a cool thing. Obviously, you can find the hours on your Instagram. But for people who want to come, like, you're like, oh, well, my grandma has all this stuff up in her attic that she doesn't know, or my uncle has this cool wrestling shirt collection. How would they get that stuff to you?
So Instagram or email. You go on my website, which is also on Instagram, but it's BSidesVintage.com. There's a contact form. You can fill it out. I'll get an email, let you know if you're interested, if I'm interested in taking it in or not. Otherwise, Tuesday through Saturday, 1 to 7. You can bring it into the store and I'll let you know from there.
So what are you typically looking for? If people are like, oh, I don't know if you'd like this or not.
Yeah, I recommend people come to the store before they try to sell stuff just to get a gauge of like what I have here. But for the most part, t-shirts, crew necks, denim, outerwear from the 80s to the early 2000s.
Okay, awesome. And Alec, I'm gonna let you take us home now. It's time for the quote of the day segment. And, I just really didn't prepare you that well because I didn't ask last night, but it seemed like you had one right off the bat, so I'm excited to hear it.
I got a quote that I really like, and it kind of fits into the advice for people that want to open a store. It's from the Dead Poet Society, and it's just because we're food for worms, lads, and that's just there's no. I mean, you're a human. You're gonna die. Like, why even think about it? You just do it. If you just give it a shot. That's why we're doing it, because you're going to be dead eventually, so you might as well enjoy it while you can.
What a great movie. I cried at the end of that movie. It's such a good movie.
That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's a really good Robin Williams, man. Such a good movie.
I just love writing, so that really
really
me. Yeah.
I'm actually trying to get my first book published right now.
Way.
Yeah. What type of writing do you do?
I like to do poetry.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's dope. You gotta let me read some of it sometime.
Dude, absolutely.
Okay, dude, awesome, and thank you so much for joining this interview today. I've had a lot of fun. I've learned a lot, and make sure you go check out Alec's store. Do you want to say the contact information just one more time?
Yeah. 214 Grant Avenue in Millville. BSides Vintage. The Instagram is BSides_vintage, and www.bsidesvintage.com to get in contact via email.
All right, cool, awesome. Thank you, Alec. I appreciate you, boss.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, everyone, we'll see you next time.